Recently, Google agreed to more than $7 million in a settlement for Google Pixel phone users who alleged that the company knew that there was a defect with the audio in the phone, yet did nothing to stop it or fix it. They allowed consumers to buy these things knowing that it wasn't going to work properly. Joining me now to talk more about this settlement is Scott Hardy from Top Class Actions. Scott, recently we've talked a lot about faulty cell phones, audio issues. You can't hear, they can't hear you. Google Pixel phone, at least the ones involved in this settlement here, seems to be a little bit of the same story, isn't it?
Right, it exactly is. This is an issue where there was some kind of manufacturing defect. That's what's alleged in the class action itself, and that defect is what caused people to have these microphone problems. And of course, with any kind of technical issue like this, you have a lot of people calling in, and you had a lot of people saying, no, this isn't our problem. No, it's not our fault. And then finally went, yes, this is a problem. But of course, Google didn't actually take ownership of it, and they were charging people for the repair of their phones if they wanted to get their phone swapped out for one that didn't have this defect. They were having to pay insurance, or they had to pay completely out of pocket. So that's why you've got some pretty big variances in this settlement from how much people can claim. So if they had that problem, they'll get if they didn't have the problem, or they just reported it, they'll get a little bit. If they had the problem, they'll get a whole lot more. But this looks to be a pretty darn good settlement overall for consumers.
And the highest tier of that, the people who did have to pay out of pocket, they're eligible for up to about, I think, $500 here. But what they've done with this settlement, they've broken it into four different classes, I guess, four different groups, I should say, within the same settlement. So is that what you're talking about with the different tiers there, the different classes that they have?
Exactly. And so if you just had a Google Pixel phone, you didn't have a problem with your microphone, didn't have a problem saying, hey, Google, and it wouldn't pick up, or you weren't talking to people and they weren't complaining about it, you can still get $20 from this settlement. If you had the problem and you actually had to pay an insurance deductible to get your phone swapped out, you can get your deductible reimbursed in full. And that could be up to $350 for people who experience the defect multiple times. As you said, they could get up to $500. I was talking with a friend about this yesterday, and they actually had 3 Google phones. And I went, man, this is awesome. And you had to swap those out. And he said, yeah, I had to swap them out. I said, great, get your paperwork. He said, well, Scott, I don't have my paperwork. I said, man, do some research on this. Check your files. He's a computer geek himself. So I said, do your digging through your emails. You've got to have something that you can do, that you can submit to the settlement administrator to hopefully get $1,500 back. And this is completely worth your time. And this is a very common issue that you and I have talked about, where a lot of these settlements, $20 is $20. That's great. But if you can spend a little bit of time, spend 15, 20 minutes of time digging through your records, digging through your emails, and getting up to $500 per claim, that is real money.
And for anyone who thinks they may not have their paperwork, depending on your provider, they usually will have a history of which devices that you've had associated with a phone number or whatever it is, even if it is through Google. So check back through your, personal accounts there. Make sure you go through all the settings, see if there's any kind of history there. And if you can't find it yourself, call in. They do have records of these things. You can get that information. May take a little bit more time, but again, if you're one of the people who could be eligible for $500, I would say a 20-minute phone call, 30-minute phone call even, as frustrating as it may be, it's still probably worth getting your $500 in that particular instance. So do make sure to do your due diligence on this. If you don't have the paperwork handy, you can get a hold of it one way or another. Go back to the store where you purchased it. They typically do take your information. They have your records. Whatever you got to do, arm yourself with this knowledge so that you're able to qualify for this particular settlement. This is Google. This is more than $7 million. Consumers definitely don't want to miss out on this, do they?
Exactly. They don't want to miss out. Now, claims are not being accepted yet, But that should be up the next couple of months. So you want to, of course, sign up for our free newsletter, and we'll make sure to notify you as soon as that happens.
Absolutely. And for more information on this, follow the link in the description of this video. And as Scott just mentioned, sign up for their free newsletter. They will let you know as soon as they start taking in claims for this particular case. Scott Hardy, Top Class Actions, thank you very much for talking with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for your time, Farron.